Kia ora, and welcome to Thursday's Economy Watch, where we follow the economic events and trends that affect Aotearoa. I'm David Chaston, and this is the international edition from interest.co.nz, and today we lead with news. China and the US seem to have agreed some sort of trade deal, although the details are still quite fuzzy. However, a key part seems to be that the US will only get access to the rare earth minerals they want on a 180-day rolling basis. That means Beijing will retain key leverage over these negotiations as they develop. And from data out in the US, CPI inflation was recorded at 2.4% in May, up marginally from 2.3% in April, but coming in lower than the 2.5% expected. Food prices, however, were up 2.9%, rents up 3.9% in this survey. The only reason the overall level was modest is that petrol prices fell 3.5% from a year ago. Interestingly, US crude oil prices were near a one-year high a year ago at $78 a barrel. Today they're at $67 a barrel. But they've fallen steadily from a year ago, so after August it seems likely that the US petrol prices will generate upward pressure on their CPI, just about at the time the tariff-tax flow-throughs start to bite. Could get interesting in about 90 days. Meanwhile, the US mortgage applications jumped more than 12% last week from the prior 3 weeks, which were quite weak. It has a pattern that we've observed since September, 3 weeks of declines followed by a single week of recovery, usually because those holding off refinancing while waiting for rates to fall can't wait any longer. The benchmark 30-year fixed rate was unchanged last week at 6.93% plus points. And there was another US Treasury 10-year bond tender earlier today, and this one featured an outsized fall in demand. There were more than 10% less bids than the prior equivalent event. The median yield achieved was 4.38% today, up from 4.28% at the prior equivalent event. This is the first time we've seen a big fall-off in demand in these official tenders, so it'll be worth keeping an eye on going forward to see if this is a one-off or the feared pullback in investor appetite for Trump debt. At the same time, the US budget statement for May showed a monthly deficit of $316 billion, only marginally less than the $346 billion for the same month a year ago. Higher tariff collections at the border are getting the credit of $23 billion in the month. That would mean the DOGE initiative has had zero impact on the budget. They have booked a $2 trillion deficit in the 12 months to May, on track for more than that for their fiscal year to September. If the current budget bill passes with tax cuts for the rich and the suspension of the debt ceiling, you can see why investors would want sharply higher risk premiums for holding US federal debt when the mismanagement is so rife. In Canada, April building consents came in 6.6% below March levels to be 16% lower than year-ago levels, but a year ago featured a strong April 2024 surge. In China, May vehicle sales came almost at 2.7 million units for the month, with almost half of them NEVs. That puts sales for the past year at a remarkable 32.7 million units, more than double the level of the US at 15.6 million units in the past year. One key reason is the Beijing-backed trade-in incentives that are designed to support their manufacturing activity through the tariff war, and also part of their drive to build and rely more on internal consumption. It seems to be working with this incentive in place, but can they wean themselves off it? The US Treasury 10-year yield is now at 4.42% and down 5 basis points from yesterday at this time. And the price of gold will start today at $3,323 an ounce and virtually unchanged from yesterday. And American oil prices are up $2 at just over $67 a barrel in the US, while the international Brent price is just under $69 a barrel. And the Kiwi dollar is now at just over 60.4 US cents, basically unchanged from yesterday. Against the Aussie, we're also holding at 92.7 Australian cents. Against the euro, we're down 30 basis points at 52.6 euro cents. That all means our trade weighted index starts today at just under 68.3 and down 10 basis points from yesterday. And the Bitcoin price starts today at $109,115 and up 0.4% from yesterday. Volatility over the past 24 hours has remained low at just on plus or minus 0.8%. You get more news affecting the economy in New Zealand from interest.co.nz. Kia ora, I'm David Chaston. We'll do this again tomorrow.